what you did, but from what you didn't. The call you never made, the risk you never took, the words you swallowed, the door you stood in front of and never walked through. It's soft at first, but it lingers. Now here's the hard truth. Most people don't fail because they made the wrong move. They fail because they made no move at all. They waited. They hesitated. They kept telling themselves there'd be more time, more clarity, a better season. And the years slipped by while they stood still, guarding a life they never really chose. Because regret, real regret, it rarely comes from the things we tried and lost. It comes from the things we knew we should have done and never did. The decisions we saw clearly, felt deeply, and still delayed. That's the ache, not failure or delay. And you don't have to live there. You don't have to reach the end of a decade and wonder what could have been. There's a different path. It's not louder. It's not easier, but it's honest. And it starts with a decision. Not someday, today. So tonight, we're not here to relive the waiting. We're here to end it. 10 decisions, 10 moves that people spend their whole lives wishing they'd made sooner. Practical, grounded, and each one within your reach the moment you decide it matters. The first decision you'll regret not making sooner, choosing yourself before the world chooses for you. Because I'll tell you what, most people spend the best years of their lives waiting for permission, waiting to be picked, waiting to be noticed, waiting for someone to look at them and say, yes, it's your turn now. And that day never comes the way they imagine. It just doesn't. You get so used to putting yourself last that you forget you were ever first. You show up for everyone. You answer every call. You solve every problem that isn't yours to solve. And somewhere along the way, you disappear inside your own life. Present for everybody, absent for yourself. And here's the thing, nobody's coming to rescue you from that. Nobody's going to knock on your door and hand you the life you've been quietly hoping for. That's not how it works. You have to choose yourself, deliberately, unapologetically. You have to say, my growth matters, my time matters, my direction matters. And then you have to move like it's true. That doesn't make you selfish. That makes you serious. Because you can't pour from an empty cup. You can't build a life for others on a foundation you never built for yourself. The people who love you deserve the strongest version of you. And that version only shows up when you stop abandoning yourself to keep everyone else comfortable. So you draw the line. You protect the hour in the morning that belongs to you. You guard the goal that lives in your chest. You stop apologizing for having ambition, for wanting more, for refusing to shrink so others feel safe. Because the truth is, when you rise, the right people rise with you. And the ones who wanted you small, they were never really for you anyway. You'll look back one day and see it plain. Every year you waited to be chosen was a year you could have chosen yourself. Every time you dimmed your light to fit someone else's comfort, you paid for it in regret. So you stop the pattern. You stop it now. Because the moment you choose yourself, everything shifts. Your posture changes, your standards rise. You stop begging for a seat at tables that were never built for you, and you start building your own, quietly, confidently, on your terms. The second decision you'll regret not making sooner. Cutting loose the weight you've been carrying for people who never asked you to carry it. Because there's a special kind of exhaustion that comes from loyalty to things that no longer serve you. And most people carry it for years without ever naming it. You know the weight I'm talking about. The relationship that drains you every time you show up. The commitment you said yes to a long time ago that you've quietly outgrown. The version of your life you built to please people who aren't even watching anymore. You keep carrying it out of guilt, out of habit. out of fear of what letting go might say about you. But here's what you have to understand. Not everything that was good for you then is good for you now. You change, you grow, your needs shift. And clinging to a version of your life that expired years ago doesn't make you loyal. It makes you stuck. It keeps you tethered to a season that's already over. So you learn to set it down, not with cruelty, not with drama, with honesty. You say, this served its purpose. I'm grateful, and now I release it. And that release, it frees up something you didn't even know you were missing. Energy, clarity, room to breathe, room to grow into who you're actually becoming. Because every yes to the old weight is a no to the new life. Every hour spent maintaining something dead is an hour stolen from something alive. And you feel it, don't you? That quiet resentment that builds when you keep showing up for what no longer fits. That's not a character flaw. That's a signal. And you don't have to explain it to everyone. You don't owe a speech to every person who benefited from your overextension. You just have to be honest with yourself first, to admit that you've been holding on out of fear, not love. And then to loosen your grip one finger at a time until your hands are finally free to hold what matters now. The people who spend their lives buried under obligations they outgrew, they always say the same thing at the end. I wish I'd let go sooner. I wish I'd trusted myself enough to stop carrying it. Don't be that voice. Set it down while you still have the strength to build something new with the arms it frees. The third decision you'll regret not making sooner, starting before you feel ready, because I promise you this, the readiness you're waiting for is a lie. Your fear tells you to keep you safe. And safe is where dreams go to die. You've been telling yourself you'll begin when you know more, when you have more, when the timing lines up, when you feel that surge of confidence that says, now it's time. But that feeling doesn't come first. It comes after. It comes from doing the thing, not from waiting to feel ready to do the thing. Every person you admire, every builder, every creator, everyone who made something out of nothing, they started scared. They started uncertain. They started with half a plan and a shaking hand. The difference between them and the ones still waiting, they moved anyway. They understood that clarity is earned through action, not granted through hesitation. So you stop rehearsing. You stop preparing to prepare. You stop reading one more book, taking one more course, waiting for one more sign. You take the imperfect step. You make the awkward call. You write the rough draft. You launch the messy version, because a flawed beginning beats a flawless intention every single time. And here's what nobody tells you. The fear doesn't leave when you get ready. It leaves when you get moving. The moment you take that first real step, something inside you shifts. The story changes. You stop being someone who talks about it and becomes someone who's doing it. And that identity, that's worth more than any perfect condition you were waiting for. You'll make mistakes. Of course you will. But mistakes made in motion teach you more than perfection imagined from the sidelines. You learn by doing, you sharpen by trying, you build the boat while you're already out on the water. That's how it's always worked for the ones who actually get somewhere. Because the greatest regret isn't the thing you tried and failed. It's the thing you were built for and never began. The dream you buried under not yet. The gift you kept locked away because the moment never felt right. So you start today, imperfectly, bravely, before you feel ready. Because ready is a decision, not a feeling. The fourth decision you'll regret not making sooner. Guarding your time like it's the only currency that actually matters. Because it is. And most people spend it like it's endless, right up until the moment they realize it never was. You can always make more money. You can rebuild what you lose. You can recover from almost anything given enough time. But time itself, once it's gone, it's gone. There's no earning it back, no second round, no refund on the hours you handed to things that didn't deserve them. And still, we treat our days like they'll always be there. Think about how much of your life gets consumed by things you never chose. The distractions you drift into without deciding. The meetings that accomplish nothing. The obligations you keep because you're afraid to disappoint. The hours that vanish into nowhere while the thing you actually care about waits and waits and waits. So you get ruthless with it. You start asking a harder question. Is this worth a piece of my life? Because that's what it costs, not just an hour, a piece of you, a piece you'll never get returned. And once you start seeing your time that way, as your actual life leaking out one decision at a time, you stop being so casual about where it goes. You say no more often. You protect your mornings. You build fences around the hours that feed your future. You stop letting other people's urgency dictate your priorities, because their emergency is not your assignment. And every time you rescue someone from their poor planning, you're spending currency you can't replace. This isn't about being cold, it's about being clear. You have a limited number of days and you don't know the number. So you spend them on purpose, on the people who matter, on the work that matters, on the growth that compounds into the person you're trying to become. You invest your time, you stop just spending it. Because at the end, when people look back, they never say, I wish I'd worked more meaningless hours, or I wish I'd said yes to more things I didn't care about. They say, I wish I'd used my time better. I wish I'd been more present. I wish I'd stopped wasting the one thing I could never replace. Don't wait for the end to learn that lesson. Learn it now. The fifth decision you'll regret not making sooner, having the conversation you keep avoiding. Because that unspoken thing sitting in your chest, it doesn't disappear when you stay silent. It grows, it festers, it quietly poisons the very relationship you were trying to protect by saying nothing. You know the one, the truth you've been holding back, the boundary you've never voiced, the apology you owe or the apology you're owed, the feeling you keep tucking away because the conversation feels too hard, too risky, too uncomfortable to have. So you swallow it day after day, and the distance between you and that person only grows wider. But silence is not peace. Avoidance is not resolution. What you don't address doesn't go away. It just goes underground, where it works against you in ways you can't see. Resentment builds. Assumptions harden. And a relationship that could have been healed with one honest conversation slowly dies from the words you were too afraid to speak. So you find the courage, not the perfect words, the courage. You sit down and you say the thing calmly, honestly, with respect, but without hiding. Here's what I've been feeling. Here's what I need. Here's what's true for me. And yes, it might be uncomfortable. Yes, it might not go the way you hope. But clarity is a gift, even when it stings. Because the truth spoken with love builds bridges, and the truth withheld out of fear builds walls. Every conversation you avoid is a wall going up, brick by silent brick, between you and someone who might have understood if only you'd given them the chance. You rob them of that chance every time you stay quiet. And it works both ways. Sometimes the conversation is the one where you finally say what you should have said years ago. I'm proud of you. I forgive you. I love you, and I don't say it enough. Those words don't get easier with time. They get heavier. And there comes a moment for all of us when the chance to say them is simply gone. So don't wait. Don't gamble that there'll always be another day to make it right. Have the conversation while the person is still in front of you, while the relationship can still be mended, while your words can still land in living ears. Because the deepest regret of all is the truth you carried to the end and never got to speak. The sixth decision you'll regret not making sooner: investing in yourself before you invest in everything else. Because you are the one asset that appreciates every single day you commit to it. And most people spend their whole lives improving everything except the person doing the living. You'll pour money into things that break, into stuff that fades, into comforts that give you a moment of pleasure and leave you exactly where you started. But the investment in your own mind, your own skills, your own health, your own character, that's the one that pays you back for the rest of your life. And it's the one people put off the longest because it doesn't feel urgent. There's no deadline on becoming better. No one's forcing you to grow, so the book stays unread. The skill stays unlearned. The habit stays unbuilt. And you tell yourself you'll get to it later when things settle down, when you have more time, more money, more room. But later has a way of never arriving. The people who commit early to their own development, they compound. Every year they get sharper, stronger, more capable. And by the time others are still trying to figure out where to start, they're operating on a level that took them a decade to reach. That gap didn't appear overnight. It was built quietly, one investment at a time, by someone who decided they were worth developing. So you make the decision. You read the things that stretch your mind. You learn the skill that scares you. You take care of the body that has to carry you through every year that's coming. You work on your temper, your patience, your discipline, the invisible things that shape everything visible. Because the greatest return you'll ever earn is on the money and effort you spend becoming more. And it changes how you move through the world. When you're constantly growing, you stop feeling stuck. You stop feeling threatened. You start walking into rooms knowing you belong there. Not because of arrogance, but because you've put in the work. You've become someone who can handle what comes. And that confidence isn't given. It's earned quietly through investment. You'll never regret the money you spent learning. You'll never regret the hours you spent growing, but you will regret the years you stayed the same. The version of you that could have existed if you'd only decided sooner that you were worth building. So decide it now. Bet on yourself. It's the safest bet you'll ever make. The seventh decision you'll regret not making sooner: forgiving the thing you've been holding on to for far too long. Because carrying that grudge, that anger, that old wound, it doesn't punish the person who hurt you. It punishes you. Every single day you keep the fire burning, you're the one getting scorched. You've been telling yourself that holding on is a form of strength, that if you let go, it means what happened didn't matter, that your anger is somehow protecting you, keeping you from being hurt again. But that's the lie resentment tells. It disguises itself as power, while it slowly drains every ounce of peace you have left. Understand this. Forgiveness isn't about them. It's not saying what they did was okay. It's not pretending the wound never happened. It's a decision you make for your own freedom. You release the weight not because they deserve to be let off the hook, but because you deserve to stop carrying something that's been crushing you for years. And that includes forgiving yourself. Maybe that's the harder one. The mistake you can't let go of. The failure that still keeps you up at night. The version of you that didn't know better, that made the wrong call, that hurt someone, or wasted time, or fell short. You've been serving a sentence for a crime you already paid for. And it's time to let the prisoner go. Because you cannot build a future while chained to the past. You cannot move forward while your energy keeps circling back to old pain. Every ounce of you spent rehearsing the wound is an ounce stolen from building the life that could heal it. Resentment is a room with no windows. and you've been living in it far too long. So you choose to walk out. You don't wait for the apology that may never come. You don't wait to feel like forgiving. You decide. You say, this no longer gets to control me. This no longer gets to define me. I'm setting it down, and I'm setting myself free. And that decision, it lightens something you'd forgotten was even heavy. The people who hold their grudges to the grave, they never find peace. They spend their final years still bitter, still replaying the same wounds, still bound to people who moved on long ago. Don't let that be your story. Let it go while you still have life left to live unburdened. Forgiveness is the door, and it's been unlocked the whole time. The 8th decision, you'll regret not making sooner, building your health before you're forced to, because your body keeps a record. Every choice you make, it writes it down. And one day it hands you the bill for all the years you ignored it. Right now, maybe you feel fine. Maybe you can get away with the late nights, the poor food, the stress you never manage, the movement you never make time for. Your body absorbs it. It carries you through. And that grace fools you into thinking it'll last forever. But it won't. That resilience is a loan, not a gift. And loans come due. So you make the choice now while it's still a choice and not a mandate. You move your body because it was built to move. You feed it well because it has to serve you for decades. You sleep like it matters because it does. You manage the stress before it hardens into something worse. Not out of fear, out of respect for the one vehicle you get to carry you through this whole journey. Because here's what people miss. Your health isn't separate from your dreams. It's the foundation under all of them. What good is the success if you're too broken to enjoy it? What good is the wealth if you can't get out of bed to spend it? Every goal you have sits on top of a body that has to be strong enough to reach it. Neglect the foundation, and the whole thing eventually comes down. And it's not about perfection. It's about consistency. The walk you take today, the water you drink, the meal you choose, the hour you go to sleep. None of it feels dramatic in the moment. But those small decisions repeated over years either build a body that serves you or one that betrays you. And you're voting for one or the other every single day. You want to talk about regret? Ask anyone who lost their health what they'd give to have it back. Watch how fast the ambition, the money, the achievements all fade in importance when the body starts to fail. Suddenly, the only thing that matters is the thing they took for granted, the thing they could have protected, the thing they promised themselves they'd get to eventually. Don't wait for the wake-up call. Don't wait for the diagnosis, the scare, the moment your body demands the attention you refuse to give. Build it now, while you're strong, while it's easy, while the small decisions can still change the whole outcome. Your future self is either going to thank you or beg you to have started sooner. Choose which one tonight. The 9th decision, you'll regret not making sooner. Speaking your dreams out loud and chasing them without apology. Because the surest way to bury your potential is to keep it a secret, to carry it quietly, to protect it from judgment by never letting it see the light. You got something inside you, a vision, a calling, a quiet pull towards something bigger than the life you're currently living. And you've kept it hidden, out of fear that people will laugh, that they'll doubt you, that you'll say it out loud and then fail and everyone will see. So you keep it small, you keep it silent. You let it live in the shadows where it can't be criticized, but also where it can't grow. But a dream unspoken is a dream half dead. When you never say it, you never commit to it. You keep it in the realm of fantasy, where it's safe and comfortable and completely powerless. And you tell yourself, that's fine, that maybe it wasn't meant to be. But deep down, you know, you're just protecting yourself from the risk of trying. And that protection is costing you the very thing you were made for, so you speak it. You say it out loud, first to yourself, then to the people who matter. This is what I want. This is what I'm building toward. This is the life I'm reaching for. And yes, some will doubt you. Some will question it. But saying it out loud does something powerful. It turns a wish into a commitment. It puts you on the hook. It makes retreat harder and progress real. And then you chase it without apology. You stop shrinking your ambition to make others comfortable. You stop pretending you don't want more when you do. You stop treating your dreams like something to be embarrassed about. Because there's nothing embarrassing about wanting to grow into everything you're capable of becoming. What's embarrassing is dying with the music still in you. The doubters will always be there. But understand this, their doubt is usually about their own fear, not your ability. They project their limits onto your potential because it makes them feel better about their own hesitation. You don't have to accept that. You don't have to let smaller visions shrink yours. You can honor the people who love you while refusing to let anyone talk you out of your purpose. Because at the end, the ones filled with the deepest regret aren't the ones who chased their dreams and fell short. It's the ones who never chased at all, the ones who stayed silent, who played it safe, who let fear write the whole story. Don't let that be your ending. Speak the dream, chase it hard, and let the world see you become who you were always meant to be. The 10th decision you'll regret not making sooner is this: choosing to be fully present in the life that's actually in front of you. Because while you're waiting for some better version to arrive, the real one keeps passing by. Quietly, permanently. And no amount of future success buys back a single moment you missed. We live so much of our lives somewhere else, replaying the past that already happened, rehearsing a future that hasn't come, chasing a someday when things will finally be good enough to relax, to enjoy, to be happy. And in all that mental travel, we skip right over the only place life actually happens. Right here, right now. The moment we keep treating like a waiting room. Think about the ordinary days you rushed through, wishing them away. The dinner where your mind was somewhere else. The conversation you half listened to. The season with the people you loved that you spent distracted, stressed, wanting to be anywhere but where you were. Those weren't small moments. Looking back, they were the whole thing, and you weren't even there for them. So you make the decision to come home to your own life, to put down the mental noise and actually be where your feet are, to look the people you love in the eyes when they're talking, to taste your food, to feel the sun, to notice the ordinary beauty that surrounds you every single day while you're too busy chasing the extraordinary to see it. That's not weakness, that's wisdom. Because presence is where gratitude lives. And gratitude is where the richness of a life is actually found. Not in the achievement, not in the arrival, in the being here, in the fully experiencing. You can have everything you ever wanted and feel empty if you're never present enough to receive it. And you can have far less and feel full if you learn to actually be there for it. The people who reach the end and feel at peace, they're not the ones who accomplished the most. They're the ones who were present for their lives, who paid attention, who savored the ordinary days that turned out to be the good old days all along. They didn't wait to be happy. They chose to notice the good that was already there, quietly waiting to be seen. So you build presence into how you live. You slow down enough to feel your own life happening. You stop postponing your joy until conditions are perfect, because they never will be. You decide that this moment, imperfect as it is worthy of your full attention. And when you do that, something shifts. The ordinary becomes sacred, the rushed becomes rich, and you stop losing your life to a future that keeps not arriving. So here we are, 10 decisions, 10 moves that people spend their whole lives wishing they'd made sooner. And if you've stayed with me this far, you already feel it. This was never about adding more to your list. It was about no longer waiting on the things you already know you need to do. Because that's the quiet tragedy, isn't it? Regret rarely comes from the wrong turns. It comes from the turns we saw clearly and refused to take. The self we never chose, the weight we never set down, the dream we never started, the conversation we never had, the presents we never gave. We knew. We always knew. We just kept telling ourselves there'd be more time. But time doesn't wait. It doesn't pause while you get comfortable. It moves steadily, whether you decide or not. And every day you postpone the thing you know you should do, you're not really keeping your options open. You're quietly closing them. One delayed decision at a time. You chose yourself. You set down the weight. You started before you felt ready. You guarded your time. You had the hard conversation. You invested in your own growth. You forgave what needed forgiving. You built your health. You spoke your dream. And you came home to the life in front of you. That's not a to-do list. That's a whole different way of living. And it doesn't happen all at once. It happens in a decision, one decision, made today, not someday. Because someday is the most expensive word in the language. It has buried more dreams, more relationships, more potential than any failure ever could. And it's time to strike it from your vocabulary. So you decide. You pick the one that stirred something in you tonight, the one that pressed on the ache you've been carrying, and you move on it. Not next week, not when it's convenient, now. While the clarity is fresh, while the fire is lit, while you still have the days ahead of you to make it count. Because the future you're building will be shaped entirely by the decisions you make while it's still uncomfortable to make them. And the version of you waiting at the end of this road is either going to look back with peace or with the quiet ache of what could have been. You get to choose which, and you get to choose it today. So don't wait for certainty. Don't wait for permission. Don't wait for a better season that keeps not arriving. Make the decision. Take the step. Speak the truth. Choose your life. Because the only thing worse than the fear of making the move is the regret of never making it at all. And that regret, that's the one thing you never have to live with. Not if you decide right now that you won't.